The mystery of the Sistine Madonna. The Sistine Madonna is the main altar picture of the world. But who served as a model for the great Raphael, remained a mystery until the 19th century. The model's name was forgotten. Or maybe it was forgotten on purpose. Indeed, under the brush of Raphael, she revealed to the world the face of Madonna. However, Margarita Luti herself never shone with holiness. There was a time when Signor Luti supplied the whole district with freshly baked bread, but after the death of his wife he became addicted to drinking. In the end, the bakery has ceased to generate income. So beautiful Margarita was a girl without dowry. And only at the beginning of 1514, when she was 18, the last term, when by village standards, the girl could get married, her father sold her for 50 ducats to the ignorant shepherd Tommaso Sinelli, who was pasturing the livestock of the local rich man Signor Chigi. There were a few more months before the wedding, but the groom already exercised the rights of husband. Margarita endured. She thought it was fate. But she was mistaken. That morning she hid from Tommaso's harassment, in a grove by the river. Suddenly, from the side of Villa Chigi, two men approached. One is tall, black-haired, dressed with exquisite casualness, but it is clear that the clothes are sewn from the best tailor. Immediately clear, the rich and the dandy. The second is almost a boy, in a minute-spattered shirt. It is also clear, apprentice. "Won't you finish the frescoes, master?" the boy asked respectfully. "I don't have a model to draw, Psyche." His exquisite companion waved his hand. He turned, and Margarita recognized the artist from Rome, whom the banker Chigi had invited to paint his luxurious villa. It seems his name is Raphael Sanzio. He is 31 years old. He is reputed to be a virtuoso of the brush and the favorite of the Pope. But all these darlings of fate better not to catch the eye. Margarita tried to quietly hide, but dry branches cracked under her feet. The instant, and the nasty boy apprentice had already pulled her out, confused and scared, right before the eyes of the capital's painter. The bright sunbeam struck Margarita in the eyes. She could not see anything, except an amazing male face, through which the sun shone on her. "Who are you, a nymph or a goddess?" Raphael gasped admiringly. "I am only the baker's daughter, signor." Margarita blinked. "So you are Fornerina, I mean the young baker." "But no. You are Psyche. And Madonna sent you to me, so that I could finish the fresco. I'm a painter from Rome." "Have you ever been to Rome?" "Rome. Capital. Eternal city." Margarita was completely embarrassed. Who could have imagined that Raphael would really take her with him, and she would see Rome? Amazingly, this miracle happened. At first her father forbade Margarita to pose for the artist. But Raphael managed to persuade him. He generally knew how to negotiate with everyone. Here and Daddy Luti has become silent. Hardly Raphael has pulled out a purse. In total, Raphael paid to relatives for Fornerina about 3,000 ducats. Rome met Margarita with the temptations of a big city. Raphael rented a beautiful house for her, bought fashionable outfits, and jewelry. He came almost every day, brought gifts and beautifully explained in love. But the wedding was out of the question. Margarita understood, no matter how strong love is, people like her are not married. Sometimes she thought, maybe it would be better to stay at home, and marry the shepherd. Then she would be a respectable woman. But she would not know love. And for the love of Raphael, Margarita was ready for anything, even the fact that she was considered fallen. However, in brilliant Rome, people like her were called noble courtesans. Although, whatever you call it, the essence will not change. Of course, numerous friends, whom Raphael led to her to boast the beauty of the new passion, smiled at Margarita, and even kissed her hand, but never invited to their respectable houses. However, other acquaintances were also quickly found, sensing easy prey, seekers of love joys, reached out to her. And no one understood why the beauty does not accept any courtship. And how to explain to them that for her brighter evenings are quiet evenings spent with Raphael. And he increasingly comes to her with brushes and paints. He likes to draw a sweetheart. In the end, the artist set up a real workshop in her house. Once, having come to Margarita, Raphael looked at his beloved for a long time, and suddenly said, "I draw Saint Cecilia for the cathedral in Bologna, and I want to portray you as Mary Magdalene to the left of her." Mary Magdalene is a courtesan of the time of Christ. Margarita gritted her teeth. Of course, who besides her better suited for this role? But in the spring of 1515, Raphael came to her, and said, "The monks from the monastery of Saint Sixt ordered me an altar painting, Madonna and Child. On the left in the picture I will write the late Pope Sixt, on the right, the beautiful Saint Barbara. And below, two little angels. And who am I going to be?" Margarita asked quietly. "You will be Madonna." Raphael exhaled. In horror, Margarita clung to the edge of the table. "I cannot be Madonna. I am a sinner. I know how terrible life is." Raphael looked up at her. "That's right. You see how terrible the world is, but you have to bring the most precious thing into it, your child. Take a deep breath, Margarita. This world does not need a stupid girl who does not know what she is doing. This world needs a hero." Margarita decided to become worthy of her lover. Realizing that with all her beauty, she is just a country girl, Margarita began to learn spelling and counting, dancing and good manners. She tried as best she could. But in the autumn of 1519, rumors spread around Rome. Cardinal Bibina wanted Raphael to marry the cardinal's niece, Maria Dovici. Bibina always patronized Raphael, ordered to write his own portrait, looked for new orders. Now he promised to talk about the artist with Pope Leo X, so that Pope would granted Raphael a pontifical cap, for special merits to the Vatican. From such news Margarita turned cold. She perfectly understood that if Raphael refuses the cardinal's proposition, he risks remaining without profitable orders. But the artist, even from his childhood, was accustomed to live in a big way, like a rich nobleman. Now Raphael worked for 20 hours a day. Once he stumbled into the house to his beloved, in a real fever. Mumbled something all night. In the morning Margarita tried to hold him, but he broke free. He shouted that he urgently had to finish the cardboards, for the new fresco. Slammed the door and left. And the next day, came running his faithful student Baviero. Gasping, he cried out from the doorway, "Maestro is dying." Margarita rushed to Raphael. He was barely breathing. A couple of hours later the cardinal confessor arrived from the Vatican. Contemptuously glanced at Margarita, who was sitting at the bed of her beloved, holding his hand, he said, "I cannot convey the blessing of the Holy Pope in the presence of this woman, because she is not his wife." The next morning, on Good Friday, April 6, 1520, Raphael died. Exactly 37 years later, the day he was born. They say that the one who died on his birthday, goes straight to heaven. Margarita was not allowed to attend the funeral. Then she put on the head covering, in which she had posed for the Sistine Madonna, and went to a nearby church. Wouldn't Madonna hear her everywhere? A day later, an attorney arrived. It turned out that Raphael had left his beloved a decent condition. She accepted the courtings of her fellow countryman, Signor Chigi, longtime friend Raphael. But the Signor was old and soon died. It was then that Margarita took refuge in the walls of a small monastery, away from the hated Rome. She was in confusion. What if she, the harlot, would not be received? But it turned out that with her present money, the prioress did not care who she was. Margarita became a nun, and adopted a new name. However, the name was familiar. She became Maria.